If you want to learn about Islam and Muslims, stay tuned to Salaam.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Salaam Sports here on Salaam Radio. A blast from the past, this show. We've not been live for a while, but it's an absolute pleasure to be back in the studio and back live on air with my main man, Sadat Akram. Sadat, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Where have we been?
Well, I don't know. What happened?
I don't know. But we've not been live. We've not been online for a while. Probably because Liverpool had one of the most shocking football seasons in a long time last season. And I think we might have a third member on in the studio today. Do we have somebody on the phone? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Rashid Ansari, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. Just to let your viewers know, Arsenal have just scored. Trossard scored. Saka set him up. 1-0 to Arsenal against Everton.
Excellent. Well, not excellent. Not excellent if you're not an Arsenal fan, but obviously excellent if you are an Arsenal fan. We'll be talking lots and lots about football. Obviously, lots going on. We've had an international break. We've just come back. Premier League's back on. Why do we do the international break? So what is the point?
I don't know. To be honest with you, after this weekend's result, we might as well just stick to internationals.
Shall we just talk about the
Yeah,
internationals? I saw, I think it might have been on our group, Rashid, that you shared top goal scorers in the Euro qualifiers and pretty much dominated by Manchester United players. I don't know if you've seen that. So
No, I haven't. No.
Yeah. So Højlund, is it Højlund?
Oh, okay, on the break, on this break.
Yeah. So Højlund's got.
scored.
Well, no, just overall. I mean, McTominay's like top scorer for
McTominay scored, yeah.
Scotland. Bruno's had most goals and assists or whatever it is.
I think, isn't it? They had all the United players had a superb sort of like innings for their internationals.
Maguire got a goal as well against Scotland.
Right, yeah, everyone, they're all superb when they put the red shirt on. It's just.
But before we go into the football, we will talk lots and lots about football. Just want to say, thank you so much to our listeners for being patient with us. We've obviously been off air for a while for a number of reasons, but we're back on now. Sadat and I, like I said, in the studio. We've also got Bidan, who's. Say again?
Isn't it interesting? After that, isn't it interesting that the show went off when Liverpool started rubbish, and all of a sudden,
I know.
Slightly good. The show's back on.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
If anybody else brought that up, I might have entertained it. But Rashid, you know about my political exploits and how busy I've been with other things.
It sounds all political to me. The fact that we were off then and now.
Been for an election as a local councillor and now potentially going for a parliamentary role. So it's going to be busy. And I'm sure if Liverpool start losing, I'm sorry, if I get busy politically again, we might go off air again. But yeah, we're back, and that's the main thing.
But if you become Prime Minister, would you come back on air?
Depends if Liverpool are winning. If Liverpool are winning, we'll be back on air.
Or if United are losing. All weekend, I know we never started off with this, but all weekend, all I heard is United. You know, from in particular Liverpool fans. I don't even know what the Liverpool score was.
Did you hear it from me?
No, from the other group.
Yeah, you're in the wrong groups. You're in the groups. Rashid's in like two groups with me. Rashid, did you hear anything from me?
A little bit.
Oh, come on. What have you heard from me? Literally, what have you heard from me this week?
You were just surprised when Liverpool went a goal down to Wolves, and that was it.
Yeah, so he shared the score 1-0 Wolves, and I was like shock face because, you expect to beat Wolverhampton Wanderers, especially if you're going for a top four position. And Wolves don't look particularly strong, so that was a bit of a shock. And Liverpool have been down a few times this season and been lucky to come
this
back.
Season, even when they.
Last season they were down and they never came back. This season they've managed to come back a few times. Yeah,
but when they won the Premier League for the first time, they quite went down behind quite a few times and came back.
Yeah. Well, we are going to talk obviously extensively about the football, but let's plow straight into what I want to talk about first is the Asia Cup. So that concluded today.
Yeah. Congratulations to India.
Congratulations, man. Yeah, whatever. Congratulations, whatever.
Yeah, no.
Well, because it shouldn't have been held in Sri Lanka. The hosts were Pakistan. It should have been in Pakistan, and for whatever reason, political reasons, India didn't want to go to Pakistan and play, and it was held in Sri Lanka.
I'm really glad you brought that up. So, Rashid, I know you've got a lot to say on this as well. The International Cricket Commission awarded this tournament to Pakistan. Is that correct?
Yeah, the ICC, International Cricket Council, awarded the tournament to Pakistan. The Indian government said, no, we don't want it because you've got a foreign fascist BJP government who, like to scapegoat minorities to stay in power. So they were like, oh no, anti-Pakistan, anti-Muslim, and the usual BS agenda. So the ICC buckled under the weight of what is known as the BCCI, which is India's version of the cricket board, and because the BCCI is the most powerful, most richest cricket board, and they bring in most money for the ICC just literally bends over for them, and that's what's literally happened. And so India's games are all staged in Sri Lanka, rather than in Pakistan, which obviously makes a huge difference to conditions and all the rest of it. And with rain and all the rest of it.
Yeah, because the rain ruined the games, didn't it?
Yeah, it changes the pitches in Sri Lanka straight away.
I'm just thinking if let's take an analogy with the football. So FIFA award the World Cup to Qatar. And let's think about a neighbouring country. Let's say Saudi have got a massive issue with, security in Qatar. And Saudi say, well, we want to play our home games in Saudi. Like, FIFA would never entertain it, right?
No, they wouldn't.
So what is going on? Like, why is the BCC, is it BCCI, BCC, what is it?
BCCI.
Yeah, BCCI. I mean, why are they so powerful in the game? Why do they get to call the shots?
Because the BCCI is huge, and therefore, in terms of money they bring in, and the amount of sort of influence they have in world cricket. Remember, India is.
Should Pakistan have taken a stronger stance?
Yeah, Pakistan should have turned around and said, "We're not going to play the Asia Cup." Pakistan should have turned around and said, "We're not going to go Sri Lanka. We're playing our game with Pakistan, and if you don't like it, fine, scrap the damn tournament.
Yeah,
we're not going.
We'll forfeit your games."
And they also should have said, if India don't tour, if India don't come to Pakistan to play the Asia Cup games, we're not going to participate in the World Cup.
Yeah, which is happening in India next month.
So some of the weaker cricketing nations have probably just let them get away with it a little bit.
Because not only that, so the World Cup right now being held in India should not be being held in India because it was held in India in 2011. It's meant to be rotated to all the member countries, and therefore the right country it should have been held right now should have been being held in South Africa.
And South Africa, are they kicking up a fuss?
No, because they're a small cricketing nation. They don't have the money, of the IPL.
No, South Africa would be able to host. Of course they would, man.
They
can host it.
They wanted to host it, but it went to India, and India wanted it, and then that was it.
Okay, so let's move away from the politics of it. Let's start talking about the actual sport. So, I saw a video on Facebook and it actually made me laugh. And it said, the Asia Cup is a bit like dating in India, where you're not allowed to go on a date with your girlfriend because it's illegal. It's not illegal, but it's illegal. So it's frowned upon. So what you want to do is you really want to play against Pakistan. And Pakistan really want to play against India. They're the two teams that want to play. But you can't do it for political reasons. So you create this sham of a tournament with Bangladesh or in Sri Lanka and whatnot. And just host an Asia Cup. And really, the only games that anybody ever watches are the Pakistan-India games. And that resonated with me because the rest of the games, like, nobody cares, do they? Like, what did you watch any games?
No, but the best game was Pakistan-Sri Lanka.
It was a good game, to be fair. Yeah,
that was the best. I mean, unfortunately, because the Pakistan-India game was washed out, the first one, which was probably a tight game. It was maybe 64.
Pakistan were in the ascendancy.
Yeah, Pakistan was in the ascendancy, but anything can happen with them, But the second game, then Pakistan didn't turn up against India. But the game against Sri Lanka, I mean, they made a good game out of it. Pakistan
They won it on the last ball?
I think, yeah.
Or 2 balls left?
2 balls left.
Sri Lanka went in the last ball. 2 runs of the last ball needed. And
they got a flashy...
yeah, and it was the new debutant bowler who did really well, to be honest. It was an edge that got to 4, the previous ball before that, yeah. And that's what made it easier for him to get on the last ball. Otherwise, he did pretty well, to be honest.
So and then just the way in which they played it. So they had 2 groups of 3. Was it 6 nations, right? 2 groups of 3. India, Pakistan, and I think it was Bangladesh.
Yeah, there was qualifiers before that, but yeah, I think...
Yeah, so the qualifiers would make the 3rd place up, right?
Yeah.
And then it was Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, and I can't even remember. No, Pakistan was with India, wasn't it, in the 3?
Yeah, Pakistan was with Nepal and whatever, yeah.
Yeah, Nepal, yeah, okay. And then the top two from each go through, and then everybody plays everybody, and then the top two play in the final.
Another group, yes.
So really, the Pakistan-Sri Lanka game was the game that determined who would play India in the final.
That was a semi-final, yeah.
That was the semi-final.
That was the semi-final game, yeah.
Now, do we read anything, Rasha? Do we read anything into how dominant India were against both Sri Lanka and Pakistan ahead of the upcoming World
They
Cup?
weren't too dominant. Well, today, exceptional.
Today, exceptional, yeah.
But the previous game, again, the conspiracy theory is coming out again that India would try and throw the game against Sri Lanka.
Stop using. It's not stop. But why is everybody pulling out conspiracy theories against India? Let's just give them their dues. They've won the tournament. Forget the politics of it. Yeah,
that will always happen. Role reversal. If Pakistan playing Sri Lanka and say,
of course,
if Pakistan lose India out, if they start playing badly, all of a sudden, it's out. They're purposely throwing the matches.
Okay, yeah. But in the final, I mean, there was no contest.
No contest.
In the game that determined whether or not Pakistan get into the semi-final or not, there was no contest. They won by 220. That was like a record-winning margin, I think, between the two teams. So,
well, Pakistan weren't lucky there because again, the rain ruined that game too. Because it rained halfway through, and I believe two of the bowlers of Pakistan were injured.
It's ridiculous to play the Asia Cup in the subcontinent during the monsoon season.
Yeah.
I mean, which genius came out with that idea?
Look,
BCCI.
we can talk about that till the cows come home. But it's not.
You can play the tournament at different time of the year when the weather conditions are fair to everybody in that part of the world.
But they really wanted this tournament in before the World Cup, didn't they?
Yeah, but see, the weather forecast in Pakistan were perfect.
Play in Sharjah, play in Dubai. Don't play this where it's just the weather ruins it.
Yeah, no, I sympathise with that view, but what I'm saying is, it is what it is, right? And just going back to my question, like, do we take anything?
If I was Pakistan, I would say ignore the Asia Cup. We're never going to play the Asia Cup again. We want to go back to playing the Australasia Cup. We used to be played in the 80s and the 90s, whereas the Australia and New Zealand playing India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. And then that was a really good tournament because, Australia and New Zealand can hold their own against anyone. And actually New Zealand got an exceptional record against India, so they always beat India, which is quite helpful for us. And we always beat New Zealand.
so that's why you want to bring the Australasia Cup back.
Yeah.
But okay, look, I feel like you're both hesitating to answer my question, so that I'll pose it to you then. Based on what's happened over the last week and a half, can you see beyond India for anyone winning the World Cup?
Past week and a half, Pakistan been ranked number one.
Yep.
International 50-50 team. Can I see past India? Yes. I think, just on this tournament, no, I don't think you can say India's going to smash it because you've got the likes of Australia, you've got England, you've got a smashing team at the moment.
I've spoken about this before. I think England should be the favourites alongside India. India are only favourites because they're at home.
Yeah.
So the conditions and the crowd. But India haven't won a competitive knockout game in an ICC tournament since 2011 when they won the World Cup, which was held at home. And the only thing that suits India is the fact that in 2011, 15 and 19, all three host countries have won the World Cup. So India won it in 2011, Australia won it in 2015, it was held in Australia, and England won it in 2019. But various of margins, that's the famous commentary is, because it was held in England.
Yeah.
Now, that's one benefits India. But I will say this, I think India play rubbish cricket. I think Pakistan play rubbish cricket. I think England play fearless cricket. I think India, and the luck favours the brave. England, I think, are something special. If, for me, Jofra Archer was fully fit, England would have been outright favourites.
Yeah, Jofra Archer's going to be a big miss. But, I mean, who...
I wouldn't say they play rubbish cricket, though. I'd just say Pakistan, India. I just think England have stepped it up. No, my point is this. Pakistan and India play stats-driven cricket. So you want to go according to... You don't want to lose that many wickets in the power play. You're running to do this one. Whereas England, and this was brilliant, when England against New Zealand, third ODI, England were 5 down for 30 or something. Stokes got 180 or something, wasn't it?
No, they got to 220, 240 off the 40-odd overs, and then they bowled New Zealand out for 140, and Joss Butler was interviewed afterwards, and they were like, when you were 30 for 5, shouldn't you have sort of dug in? And he was like, no, because that's ridiculous, and you could end up being 40 for 7 then. If you did
that's what I mean.
That.
England stepped it up.
I get that. I think, look, England have gone...
How many
You've got
times
to
has it
take
been role
into
reversal though? When England
So
have
that-
done that, 30 for 5, and they've not dug in and they've collapsed, and then it's the no.
So
and
this is
then
the
you get
thinking.
many-
So England believe Russia.
But hang on,
Gone.
England are ODI and T20 world champions,
Yeah.
and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, if they are losing 2-3 wickets in the power play, and they decide to dig in, then they'll get to 50 overs, and they might get 230, 220, 230, 240. Losing a few early wickets, 240 is a decent, and they'll end up losing the game because they will just bat it off for the first few overs and just retain wickets and then just smash them in the end. So they're thinking either we can lose a long one-day international match, or we can lose a short
home
one-day
early.
international match, or potentially just blitz it and win. So they're almost forced into that action where they're like, the old Imran Khan. Can we say Imran Khan on air?
no, who's it? It's Qasim Kadadi, isn't it?
Qasim Kadadi said, look, if you're cornered tigers, you need to come out and fight like tigers, right? And Pakistan are doing that. England are doing that. England they'll play their normal game, but if their back's against the wall, they will fight.
And the next game, when Josh Butler talked about playing fearless cricket, he sent that message out again. And then the next game, Ben Stokes came out and smashed 180, and England got 50. And then that's what you want. You want fearless cricket. And this is the thing. I don't see why Pakistan can't play fearless cricket. Because guess what? We've got the best bowling attack in the world, right? We think we're the best bowlers. So why aren't our batsmen going for it? Because guess what? If we ever get 260, 280, 300, our bowlers can defend that.
So just talking about the bowlers, Naseem Shah out of the World Cup. Is that official now?
I believe so. Yes.
Does he actually have an injury, or is this a political move?
No, he's out. What would?
No, he's done his shoulder in.
That was the game against India, isn't it?
I'm just hearing a few conspiracy.
After the rain.
I'm just hearing a few conspiracy theories about how he liked a post by the Indian cricket team or somebody and said where somebody had said he's the best batsman in the world, and it wasn't Babar Azam, it was one of the Indian guys, and I think he'd liked it or commented on it. All right, so that's all that. And then Haris is out as well, or is he going to be okay?
Haris will be fine.
Haris will be in, yeah.
Okay, so you got Haris and Shaheen, and who's your third pacer then?
It's this new. I forgot his name now.
There's a few we've got that are quite good.
The one who played in the Asia Cup. What was his name? The one who did the final over against Sri Lanka, who's got a Malinga type action.
Zaman Khan.
Zaman Khan.
I don't know. I mean, I'd go for maybe Hasnain. There's Shah Nawaz Dhawanwi. There's
not a shortage of bowlers, to be honest with you.
And also Mohammed Amir. Would you guys think about bringing him back?
Oh
no. Me and Sadat in sync. No, there's no doubt about his ability whatsoever.
Yeah.
But let's not do that. Let's not make the World Cup about a former cheater. Let's not do that. There's plenty of young talent. Bring them through. These guys. Yeah. Do you disagree, Rashid? I mean, I'd be interested to hear it.
I don't know, but I just think because the experience that he has, right, in terms of and he's still a top draw player. Why not? This is something, because the others don't have the experience, and you're playing in India.
Yeah, and that's
that can handle the pressure.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this. Is it Zaman Khan? You said
Zaman Khan. Yeah.
Zaman Khan, the guy who's made his debut against Sri Lanka. To be given a debutant the final over, the deciding final over, is showing a lot of faith, but also putting a lot of pressure on potentially young shoulders. But you'd only do that if in your mind you had this guy already in the World Cup squad. So I can't see beyond.
He plays in the West Indies League, and because I think it was Curtly Ambrose who spoke very highly of him.
Ooh,
yeah.
Well, if Curtly speaks highly of him, mate, you know he's going to be.
To be honest, I don't think he's good enough. I personally think.
Wow. Okay. So shall I listen to Curtly Ambrose or Rashid Ansari?
Look, he's not exactly 6'4". He's about 5'6", 5'7". He's got a slingy action, which means if you're not bowling with any height, right? And you've got a slingy action, and if you're not bowling over 140k, you're not bowling 145, and you've got a slingy action, the ball just sits up for it to get smashed, and you can get smashed.
He had the best though. Even that game though, didn't his run? He was only giving 3 or 4 runs per over. His was right. It was on his compared to Shaheen. Who else was bowling at that time? Was Haris Rauf? I can't remember. No, I think he was injured.
But do you remember when Malinga first came out? Like when he first started bowling on the international scene?
Action, isn't it?
I could not believe what I was seeing, and I was like, and the batsmen as well. They would have never faced somebody who's bowling it out of the side, right?
Yeah. He was, and he was a top class bowler.
Malinga was taller. Malinga was a lot taller than he is.
Okay.
Yeah, it can't be shortest. Sorry.
So Zaman can't. Zaman
Messi
can't.
won't be playing football.
Yeah,
if it
Zaman
was-
can't. Are you saying Zaman can't bowl a bouncer?
No, he can't.
Well, actually, funny enough, Curtly Ambrose said that he's got a very good slower
Ibra
bouncer.
Ali is watching. Ibra says, "I hope you're."
No. So why wouldn't you wouldn't take Hasnain over him, Mohammed Hasnain or Shahnawaz Nani, who've both played international cricket and played really well?
I was just going to say.
But yet they didn't select him in the Asia Cup for some reason,
Yeah, but the Asia Cup was it was like a meh thing, wasn't it?
just
It
before the
wasn't
World
like-
Cup.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I think if they were going to take them, they should have put them in the Asia Cup.
Okay, so give me a 1, 2, 3 for the World Cup then. Sadat.
Oh, 1, 2, 3. What
Winner,
favourites?
semi-finalist. No, winner, losing finalist, and Pakistan's position if it's not in the 1, 2.
Pakistan. Let me just
If it's not in the 1, 2, yeah, just throw it in the air, see how it lands. What do you reckon?
Pakistan qualify out their group. I think England, India.
England win against India in the final,
yeah.
and Pakistan get to the semis.
Quarterfinals, isn't it? If they
Is
come
there
out of the
quarters in the semis?
There's no quarterfinals.
No quarters. So
It's like a huge league, and the top 4 countries then play the semi-finals.
Look at that. Like,
it's just a one table. Isn't
India
it, this thing, isn't
India
it?
struggle with knockout games, so the World Cup in India has become a huge league.
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it? The conspiracy theories. Rashid, what do you reckon? You reckon England beat Pakistan in the final?
No, I think England, India probably, but I don't know. It just look, the PCB still haven't announced Pakistan's 15th for the World Cup, and then once they do that, then you kind of gather the team. You know, you sort of look at have a guesstimate of how well we'll do.
I think Pakistan will be good enough to be in the top
By the
4.
way, I wouldn't go. I know this is like hilarious because South Africa always bottle it. But South Africa have been an amazing cricket playing. Do you not see they've been scoring 400 in ODI?
I know. You'd have to be
South
stupid
African
to
India.
bet on. You'd be stupid to bet on South Africa and stupid to bet against them as well. It's just, again, it's like Pakistan. You throw the cards up in the air and you don't know how they're going to land.
It'd be nice if South Africa could make the semis. Do you know what I mean? It'd be different for them rather than getting knocked out in the qualifiers all the time. Well, in the opening round all the time.
Okay.
But I'll say England.
Let's move on. We're going to start talking a little bit, just before we go to the break, we're going to talk a little about FCP, Ibra, just because I've been prompted by Ibra Ali, who said, Sadat, hope you're hungry. What's going on? You going for a meal later?
Yeah.
What's this meal about?
I don't question what it's about, mate. It's a
If
meal.
it's food, it's food.
It's food, yeah.
No, so academy coaches obviously all getting together, go for a little munch.
Yes. I mean, since we've been off air, big things have happened at FCP now.
Yeah.
Semi-professionals, the first teams. You know, I was
Exactly.
expecting a call up, but it didn't happen.
Have you not been called up yet?
No.
Yeah, I've been in the squad a couple of times. Just squad on the team sheet. Yeah. So the season's resumed.
Yes.
The first team now. Rashid, just for your information, I think FCP brought up to the 9th or 10th tier now of the football pyramid. So they've gone to semi-professional level. So some players are on contracts.
Yep.
And we're playing in the East Nun.
Step 5? Is that what his name
It's step 5,
Step
yeah.
five,
So in the East Nun League, North Division, I think it is. But they've had a bit of a tough time for the first few games. I think they've struggled a little bit just with is it the physicality or is it, what do you reckon?
Struggling just with the results, to be honest, because other than, I think it was this last week's game where we got beat by 4 goals or so, they've not looked out of place. They've played really, really well. And you come away from games disappointing that you've not won. Forget not drawn, not won the game because you've played that well. Same sort of issues. We're not taking our chances, but we're not out of place. But the good thing, I suppose, the positive is we're creating quite a lot of chances.
So do you reckon it's a case of just acclimatise?
I think so.
And then
I think
next
it's
year you'll,
confidence. If we can just stay in the league this year, and I think we'll build on that next season.
But even if you don't stay in the league, the next time you go up,
oh yeah.
yeah. Okay, and then the reserves, they're being managed by FCP, all-time top goal scorer Arslan Ali. Had a fantastic start to the season. I think they've dropped a few points recently, but
yes, they were undefeated for the first 4 games, I think, or so, and then lost a couple, but they'll come back to winning ways again on the weekend.
Bounce back this
So
weekend.
so they've been doing
And
really,
then the
really well.
academy. So we had over the last few weekends, we've had 14s, 13s, 12s, 11s, 10s, 9s, 8s,
It's amazing.
and 7s.
It's amazing.
8
It's amazing.
teams playing every Saturday, Sunday.
You know, forget results and everything. The other day, I was walking with Arif, the chairman, at the ground, and I just looked at it. I think it was the under-18s that were playing.
Okay.
And I said, you know where we were about 7-8 years ago, where we started off, and look where we are now. It's amazing. You couldn't have thought of that time when with yourself, Chaz, Nadzi, and all, you know, the starters. It was it all off. It was amazing that we've got to this position.
So phenomenal. I think phenomenal start to the season, especially from some of the younger age groups. I mean, our under sevens. I've played a couple of games now. A couple of games first time ever.
Yeah.
Under 8s are doing well. Under 10s are smashing it.
Yeah.
Our under 12s had another good result today. My under 13s won again today. Under 14s going through a bit of a tricky patch, but really, really good stuff.
But they're turning up week in and week out.
Yeah,
and they're enjoying it regardless.
Absolutely. So, great stuff going on with FC Peterborough. So, Rashid, if you are interested in a bit of a coaching role, mate, you're more than welcome to pick up where you left off back in the uni days and maybe managing under 21s or something. So we're going to go into a break now, guys. When we come back, we're going to be talking all things football, Premier League, international break, signings of the season, and potential top 4. Don't go away. Join us in about 4 minutes' time.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
Craving authentic Desi flavors? Look no further than Desi Restaurant. From midday until 1 in the morning, enjoy our homemade specialties that will transport your taste buds. Indulge in tantalizing papri chaat and savor the rich Chersi Kadahi. Treat your friends to our fresh 1 kilogram Chersi lamb handi. Plus, get 2 12-inch pizzas for $11.95. Located at 298 Lincoln Road, we deliver from lunchtime until 1 a.m. Call 01733 555 795 now to order and experience Desi Restaurant's flavors.
Worried your tenants could stop paying their rent during this cost of living crisis? Next Move Estate and Letting Agents are offering landlords 12 months rent in advance. You'll get your rent paid for the whole year in advance. No strings attached. Too good to be true? It really is that simple. So get in touch with us today for this extremely limited offer. Call Next Move now on 01733 641 642 to find out how we can help.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
Peterborough. Who said good quality fried and grilled chicken has to be expensive? At Sam's, we take pride in every piece of chicken that leaves our kitchen. Just one bite of our chicken or burgers is all it takes to realise we are the best. Visit us at our brand new place at 333 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PF. Or order a delivery through Just Eat, Uber or Deliveroo. Sam's, the home of great tasting chicken for over 30 years.
Are you a savvy shopper searching for the best food deals? Look no further. Adams Cash and Carry can help you save big. We're not just a food wholesaler for takeaways and restaurants. We also welcome household customers at our warehouse in Westwood, Peterborough. Visit our website and enjoy wholesale prices on everything from drinks to flour, rice to burgers, and much more. To shop, go online and collect in store. Visit adamscashandcarry.co.uk today to start your savings spree.
Bite into something wonderfully tasty at Big Mouth, 349 at Lincoln Road in Peterborough. Eating in for takeaway or delivery. Big Mouth now have a delicious new menu full of all your favourites. Crispy fried chicken, juicy smashed burgers, finger-licking piri-piri chicken, handmade pizzas, quality doner meat and so much more. So visit the family-friendly Big Mouth restaurant for fantastically fresh food. Call 01733 201020 or visit getbigmouthonline.com.
If you want to learn about Islam and Muslims, stay tuned to Salaam Radio 106.2 FM.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Salaam Sports here on Salaam Radio 106.2 FM. Back after a long hiatus and back in the studio with Sadat Akram and on the phone with Rashid Ansari. Rashid, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum.
And Sadat, how are we?
Yeah, good. Are we live in Luton?
We are. Are we live in Luton? Ali, give us a
Inspired?
thumbs up if we're live in Luton. No thumbs up from Ali.
Are we live in Luton?
I don't know if we are. We've been offline. We've been off air for a while. I don't know.
Especially Luton now back in the
Yeah,
Premier
now
League.
that Luton are in the Premier League,
Yeah,
we
might
could be
get a phone
talking
call.
extensively about Luton's exploits. But they've not had a good start, have they, Luton? They've not had a good start, but they were never
going
going
to cancelled, didn't they? Because of
They've had one game cancelled,
facilities.
Yeah, exactly. We'll talk, obviously, in the second half about the Barclays Premier League.
Are we going to mention the Rugby World Cup?
No, not in the second half. Not in the second half.
Having Djokovic?
Yeah, Djokovic, greatest ever, boring. I mean, he's the greatest ever. There's no, doesn't matter what metric you look at now, Djokovic has to be the greatest ever men's tennis player in history. And women's, in fact, yeah, because he's outdone Serena's record as well.
I reckon this new number one will be, what's his name, the young lad, he's 19.
Alcaraz. Yeah.
I think he's going to smash it. He looks superb. Watched it in the Wimbledon. Were we off during Wimbledon? Were we on? I think we were off. Weren't
We were off. Yeah. No, he did.
smashed it.
He did really well. Yeah.
I think he'll surpass him.
Yeah, he could. Well, he had a chance to knock him off his pedestal and win the US Open.
He's
but
only
it just
19, 20, isn't he, or something like that?
Yeah. But no, we're not going to talk about the tennis. We're going to talk about football. And I know, like, the season's already 5 weeks in, so we've had quite a bit of additional information that we wouldn't have had 5 weeks ago if we were talking about top signings in the forthcoming season. Now, obviously, the one that took all the headlines was the Moses Caicedo affair, and let me just come out the gate and say it, like, we thought we had him. We didn't, and we were. It was pretty embarrassing because, I mean, I don't even know how that happened. Like, I think the clubs were talking. So Liverpool and Chelsea were talking. Sorry, not Liverpool and Chelsea. Liverpool and Brighton were talking, and Brighton accepted a bid from Liverpool. So Liverpool have gone and said, yeah, we've had a bid accepted for this player, and we're going to sign this player without actually talking to the player.
And the player said,
I've been talking to somebody else.
Yeah, thank you, but no thank you.
Thank you, but no thank you. So in that situation, Rashid, like Brighton, they're just going to accept an offer, right? But then the player has to sign on the dotted line, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit more to that. I mean, Chelsea were after him for 6 months in advance. Remember, Arsenal put like a £70 million offer for him in January, right? And that got turned down.
Yeah.
And then Arsenal signed Jorginho. And then Chelsea after that went in for him. And then Chelsea got in touch with his agent. They were able to speak to him. Chelsea even went and saw his family in Ecuador. They spoke to his parents and all the rest of it. And then he hosted his family 3 times.
And that's the right way to do it, isn't it? That's the way you get it done, right?
So they did all of that. And then again, Chelsea and Brighton, they were bartering over how much. Because remember, Brighton wanted over 100 million. They said that he's better than Rice and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So Chelsea didn't want to pay. Obviously, you don't want to pay 100 million, and so it was all of that going. And in the meantime, Liverpool were looking to find players, and then they were getting loads of turned down, none of that. And then the interesting was Lavia, wasn't it?
Yeah, so Lavia. I mean, okay, so just have you seen much of Lavia?
No, I haven't.
He's never stood out as a player that.
No, I've seen him. I've seen him last season, and he's really good. And I have to admit this.
Do you think so? I mean, I just feel like overinflated wages, prices, and
what was his price tag?
What, 45 million, 50 million?
That's nothing nowadays.
It was 15 million was his price tag, right?
15
initially.
50, right?
Oh, 50, okay.
So Liverpool were like bidding 41 million, 42 million, 44 million, 46 million.
And
right?
£1.
And then and like Arsenal did for Davies.
For Suarez, yeah.
Then all of a sudden, right? Then Liverpool goes 110 million for Caicedo, and they don't want to bid 40, 50 million.
And this is the frustrating thing as a Liverpool fan. Like, and no Liverpool fan. If any Liverpool fan tells you that they weren't hoping Jude Bellingham would be playing at Anfield, they're lying. Yeah. Right? I wanted Jude Bellingham. I've said it clearly on the group as well, Rashid. I've said it openly. Like, Jude Bellingham is somebody that you absolutely want playing for your team. And I feel like, he'd be better than Gerrard. He already is a better footballer than Gerrard was at that age. And he's probably going to go on to have a much, more successful career than Gerrard did. And Gerrard was probably one of our greatest players ever. So why would you not want him? But then you think to yourself, like, how can you bid 105 or 110 million for Moses Caicedo when 105, 110 million would have done it for Jude Bellingham? It would have.
Did Jude Bellingham want to go to Liverpool, though?
We didn't even get to that stage. We didn't even get to that stage because it's all fine and well taking him out to concerts and taking him out for a curry and whatnot. And
ex-players or
you were calling, Henderson was calling him regularly.
I know. And I was loving it as a Liverpool fan. I was loving it.
He was already in
Trent's
the room.
meeting up with him in England duty
and he'd already decided that he wanted to go to Real Madrid.
Yeah, and Henderson doing that slightly awkward goal celebration at the World Cup, and it's like, come on, mate, look into my eyes. It's embarrassing. Honestly, it's embarrassing. On the flip side, I will say, I think we've got a decent player in McAllister. And I think we've got a decent player in Szoboszlai. I think especially Szoboszlai. He's young. He's the Hungarian
nothing
captain.
compared to Bellingham.
No, they're not on Bellingham's level. I think Bellingham's a elite level.
Yes.
And Bellingham's potentially Ballon d'Or winner over the next 2, 3, 4 years. I don't know if McAllister and Szoboszlai would be in that bracket. I don't think they would be. Some Liverpool fans think that Szoboszlai is the greatest midfielder to have ever played the game. Rashid, I think you've heard that a few times as well, yeah?
No, he's got a very high threshold, and if you check on the group that me and Bidzi are on,
yeah,
we've talked about him.
I know. I completely forgot about him when we signed him. I was like, "Who's this guy?" But then I remember him from the World Cup. Because I watched Hungary play, and Hungary, literally, they're a bunch of really, really hard-working, very, very technical players.
Organised.
They were so difficult to break down. They did decent in the World Cup, and he was a standout player, and he was the one with a little bit more flair, a little bit more drive, he was a bit more dynamic, and he was their captain, and he's 21. So all of that goes in, your favour.
Players on the back of a tournament, though, of a Euro or a World Cup.
It's not the back of a tournament. You've got to remember he's his national team captain at 21 years old. That says a lot.
Players do play better international because it's a different type of football, a different level.
He also played really well for Leipzig in the Bundesliga. And I know midfielders from Germany, we can Keita, Sancho, yada, 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 right? But he does. He's very young. He's got a high threshold. And he's a good player. He's a good player. As much as I hate to say it because he's playing for Liverpool, he'll do well.
Yeah, I think so. I think him and McAllister will do well. I think McAllister... with McAllister,
But to be frank, if he'd signed Caicedo and Lavia, I would have been just as even more worried.
But I was always saying of the two, Caicedo and McAllister, I was always saying we need Caicedo. Because I saw him play for Brighton last season and he used to dominate teams. And McAllister was neat and tidy in little pockets and get the ball and, he'd move into space and pass it. And it was all really nice. But Caicedo was a match winner. You could tell he was that kind of player. So of the two...
I wanted Caicedo at United because I said Casemiro, Caicedo and Bruno. Just an
yeah, you'd play a double pivot with Bruno with a bit more freedom, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Simples. But yeah, it wasn't to be for United or for Liverpool. Going on to Man United, I genuinely think Onana is an excellent signing. Genuinely.
Well, I think
I think he's
way too early to criticise him, but he's obviously showing his talent with his feet.
Yeah, incredible crossfield ball in that game. Was against Wolves, was it? First game of the season?
What's it, Rashford, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I know people are critical of him and all the rest of it. And all I will say in his defence is look, De Gea would be conceding more goals because De Gea will put pressure on his own defence because his distribution is so poor.
Yep.
Right? And then when De Gea makes those saves, he's making saves because from the mistakes he's made from the possession when he's giving the ball away.
So
but do you think they're passing the ball back too much now because of the fact that he's good with his feet?
They trust him.
Yeah,
but before you would go forward.
I see this now that we just give the ball to him, and he's literally playing like a third centre back where he gets it. He's like Matthias Sammer or whatever, Beckenbauer, and he's hitting the ball cross for 35, 40 yards, or he's playing 1-2s with his centre backs, and when the press comes on, he's able to beat the press and play it to the full back and
He is. He's a sensational footballer, and I think he's a very good keeper. I don't think, you know what, you've conceded quite a few goals, and we always try and pick out on the goals where the keeper could have potentially done better, and even that one where he was sat down, it's funny to laugh at him, but he did the right thing. He anticipated the shot. No, but he did the right thing. Like you have a joke and a laugh. You have a joke and a laugh, but
you're still down with like a minute to go.
Exactly.
And you're one-on-one, what's he going to do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm just.
The thing is this: there is an issue. There's a lot of turmoil in the background, boardroom, and all that sort of stuff. But I do think if once Varane is back, Shaw is back, and you've got Amrabat back playing in a pivot with Casemiro, United will be different.
So that's one player I'm
definitely
looking forward to seeing Amrabat play. I don't look forward to seeing Man United play unless I know they're going to lose. But Amrabat is such a good player. Amrabat is such a good player. Like I saw him in the World Cup, and I've seen him many times before as well. Like in the European competitions, and he's just so fluid, isn't he? He just breaks the lines with the ball at his feet. He's really, really comfortable, and he's got good distribution going forward.
Everything that the English press think Declan Rice should be.
Well, the one thing I'll say about Declan Rice, and we are going to talk about Declan Rice. He's on my list of players I'm going to talk about. But the one thing I'd say about Declan Rice is, he's probably, his average position is further up the pitch. I think Amrabat likes to receive the ball in between the two centre backs, and he almost encourages you to play three at the back because he'll become the third at the back, and he encourages your fullbacks. Now, with somebody like Amrabat dropping into defence, you're fine on the left hand side when Shaw's playing, but Wan-Bissaka's not going to give you anything. So you need a Trent. Literally, you need a Trent. If Amrabat drops in and you've got Varane and Lindelof either side of him, yeah, he's going to want that out ball to the right, out ball to the left, and on the right you've got
Martinez instead of yeah. But no, I will say this in defence of Wan-Bissaka, he's improved a hell of a lot.
In which department? Because he was always an excellent tackler.
Yeah,
he was always an excellent tackler.
He's always good on the ball. He is good on the ball.
Going forward now, he's improved.
He's good on the ball.
He got the assist for the goal against Wolves when Varane scored.
Yes, you did. Yeah, you're right. Yep, fair play.
So he has improved a lot. So much so, the rumours I've been hearing is that it will be Sadat that will be sold in the season, and United will bring in Frimpong from Leverkusen as an attacking right back.
Okay, and then just quickly, I want to talk about Reguilon. So I really like Reguilon at Tottenham, but he was awful for that second goal. Was it second goal or third goal?
Going forward, he was good.
Yeah, going forward, he was good. But I think, do we blame the player there, or do we blame the diamond formation? Because the diamond formation gave no support to the fullbacks.
Flashback of the second goal now.
Was it the second goal or the third goal, Rashid? Went down that side and it was just a simple ball down the side and a simple cross in and a simple finish. I
think it's the midfield. None of them chased back in all of the goals.
No. The midfield didn't chase the runners. So the goal scorers were midfielders, yeah? But the distribution, don't you cut the distribution out?
Yes.
Wan-Bissaka would have cut it out.
I'm trying to have a flashback of the second goal. Was it the second goal?
It was from the right-hand side, from their right-hand side. Ball came in. It was almost a carbon copy of the first goal.
First goal was a dummy in it.
Second goal was on the left hand side. What am I talking about? Second goal was on the left hand side, where he sat Martinez down. Gross, Pascal Gross sat Martinez down.
Yes,
but the ball coming in. I mean, it was so easy just to get down the left hand side.
They seem to have left. It was a bit like my under 40s today. They left it for each other, United, and then in the next minute it came to Gross. He didn't realise.
So is that
it was Rashid, a miskick?
Is that
actually a miskick from the Brighton player to pass it?
What I will say about Reguilon, he's a loan. He's a simply loanee to put cover for Malacia and Shaw to get back.
Okay.
He's not permanent fixture in any means, and there's a clause that we can get rid of him, send him back to Spurs in December.
Okay.
Simply the cover.
Right.
But Reguilon, I wouldn't say he's a talent, but his missus is on the other hand. But there you go.
That's not what we're here to talk about, Rashid. Let's keep that to our WhatsApp groups, if that's okay.
Share that with me. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Let's add Sadat to the WhatsApp group. Listen, I gave Man United an 8 out of 10 for their business.
Against Brighton?
No, in their business in the transfer window. We're talking about transfers, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry.
I gave them an 8 out of 10. I thought they did well. I thought that they recruited fairly well. Højlund he's looking promising. I mean, he had that goal ruled out, and he looked really promising in the last game. I know, but that's not his fault, right?
No, it's not his
I think
fault,
Amrabat's an excellent signing. I think Onana's an excellent signing. I think
again, it's a loan though, isn't it? Amrabat's a loan. It's not.
Amrabat's a loan with a promise to sign. I mean, you're going to end up keeping him. I'm pretty sure. And I gave Liverpool, I think, like a 7 out of 10. I think we missed out on a couple of players that we wanted, and we're probably a bit too dependent on Mo Salah, who we nearly lost and luckily didn't. So that for me was the biggest signing of the season for us, was just not losing Salah. But other teams have done some really.
I'm going to talk about the Saudi Pro League.
Yeah, we'll come on if we have time. If not, we're going to have to just do a whole segment on the next show. But I was going to talk about some of the really big signings. So obviously we've mentioned Caicedo, but Declan Rice, Arsenal, Sadat.
No, you got to talk about Havertz. What a player by Chelsea!
Come on, let's not be silly. Let's not be silly. Let's not be silly. Declan Rice
gone into a good team.
A heck of a lot of money. Heck of a lot of money.
I thought overpriced, to be honest.
I did as well.
But he scored the winner against United. The pundits are saying, that shows you his confidence that he didn't want to.
That just shows poor defending. That didn't show his skill on his part.
I thought I was just, again, maybe because he's an English player, but overpriced. But. He's gone into a good team with confidence, almost, not all, challenging for the title last season. And again, another challenges this is. I think he will play well, yes.
Rashid, you were praying that United don't put in a stupid bid for him, weren't you?
Yes. Rice is a decent player. He's good. Obviously, he's a good player, but he's not worth 100 million.
No. I agree with you. Honestly, as much as I'd like to back him.
How much would you... for Rice?
No, but I don't think
50 million.
See, this is the thing. I don't think so. I know where do Man United want to be? Do they want to be challenging for the title, or do they want to be challenging for a top 4 place?
Title.
They want to be. I'm not saying they're there yet, but that's what they'll be.
Not far away.
So, Rashid, obviously, you've been a lifelong fan of Man United. You want them to be challenging for the title, right? And is Rice the player that you bring in to challenge for the title? I don't think he is.
No,
I think he's a good player that makes you challenge for second, third place, potentially 4th place. I don't think he's the. We talked about Bellingham, right? Bellingham's the kind of player you want to bring in to challenge for the title. Yeah. And look at Man City. They've won 5 of the last 6 leagues, right? Was it 6 of the last 7? Yeah. Whatever it is, they've won ridiculous. They're dominating domestically, and they've won the biggest prize in Europe as well now. Mm. And they've gone and they've signed Guardiola, and they've signed that. Is it Jeremy Doku? Doku, yeah, Doku.
And they signed Kovacic and Matthias Nunes.
Right, so Kovacic. Sensational player, Kovacic. I don't know why Chelsea will let him go. And Matthias Nunes,
and
obviously
not only let him go to a rival.
A rival, yeah, exactly. So that's the level, isn't it? That's the level. Guardiola, sensational player. How good is he?
He's
Brighton done well with their loan, the players that they've got.
What do you mean?
Fate, if I pronounce his name, I think that's a great snatch by Brighton to get him.
Yeah, Liverpool wanted him as well.
It's amazing.
Liverpool lost out on Brighton players and then lost out on Barcelona players to Brighton. It's just ridiculous.
Almost equivalent as, what was it? West Ham got Tevez and I can't remember who, Mascherano?
Mascherano. So Man City then really showing the rest of the league and the rest of the world the way, aren't they? Because, they lost Gundogan, who's...
Yeah, but it's easy when you're winning.
Gundogan's obviously Messi in the last 2 months of the season. They've lost Mahrez, who's phenomenal every time he plays for them, and yet they've retained the services of Bernardo Silva. They've got Jack Grealish, who was sensational last season. I know he's injured now. Kevin De Bruyne is injured, but he'll be back. They've got Rodri. They've brought in Kovacic, and they've brought in Doku, and they've brought in all these players, Nunes, like you say, and then they've got Guardiola. They had no issues at the back. They brought in Guardiola. That's the level, isn't it? Is anybody going to catch them?
No. Unless Haaland gets injured, that's it. And then KDB, comes back and he gets injured again and all the time.
let's not wish injury on players. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Kevin De Bruyne getting injured.
You can't see City not being, because they're such a well.
Yeah, before, probably 2 seasons ago, Kevin De Bruyne getting injured could have been, oh my God, have they got anything? But now it does not really affect him. I'm not putting Kevin De Bruyne down. I'm just saying the City is just that good everywhere. They've got 2. They could put 3 teams out.
Just a couple more that I wanted to talk about, and I'd love to get your views on this, because I've heard Rashid's views on this. But Sadat, James Maddison, Tottenham.
Oh, very good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks for your input.
Very good.
Let's move on.
No,
what a player.
Jamil's
Seriously.
just commented on that as well.
Who has?
Jamil Iqbal.
Yeah.
Did you read it out? Go on.
Okay, Jamil Iqbal. Let's have a look. So City will win the league. They got one of the best managers and the best squads in Europe. Welcome Salaam, Jamil. It's hard to argue. Yeah, they've definitely got one of the best squads in the world, and they've definitely got one of the best managers in the world. I mean, you can argue he spent billions. He spent more money than any other manager in history. We saw he spent over 2 billion on transfers in his managerial career, and he started his managerial career at the best club side that we've seen in history, probably with Barcelona, with Xavi, Iniesta, and Messi. So he's had his help, but you're right. He is.
Has he not always gone to a top team though, who's doing well, and then he's managed?
Yes, he has. Yeah,
he's
he
not
has
done it with a team where he's created. A team.
Can he do what De Zerbi is doing with Brighton? Because that's
absolutely.
impressive.
That is what you call a manager.
Rashid? Fergie did with Aberdeen, basically. Yeah.
Fergie with Aberdeen, exactly the same. Yeah. No, I got to give it to both of those forms, and I think until and this is why Ranieri with Leicester. Yeah, you got to credit him for that winning that league because he had a limited budget and he found some. I mean, Kante, he bought Kante. He had Mahrez, and it's like, what the hell's going on there? It's crazy. So yeah, James Maddison. Look, I think I really like him as a player. I mean, he's your typical English cam stroke wide attacking player. He's got a few tricks, he's got a few dribbles, and he's got a lot of energy. But I feel like Tottenham just fits him. Like he just looked like a Tottenham player for a long time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's certain players that when they go into a team, you think, this team's for him, and the players,
team's for him.
Yeah, and I think,
I think Rio looked at a place at West Ham. He looked at place at United. I just felt like Rio Ferdinand. That was a United player, you could tell.
And Maguire was a Leicester player.
Maguire, even at United, looks like a Leicester player. Rashid, James Maddison, I mean, you're impressed with his start, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, he's done very well. It's also because he has Pape Sarr and Basuma behind him.
Basuma, oh my gosh. Yeah, Basuma's just been sensational. So Basuma is, he's...
But that's why it's a good fit, isn't it? Because he has those players behind him. He can do his part.
Do you remember 3-4 years ago when Pogba had Matic and Herrera, and Pogba played really well for that one season for United? And that was because he had Matic and Herrera behind him. That they did all the donkey work, and he got the ball in the final third, and he could do his stuff. Same way with Maddison. Those two press really well, are energetic, and he gets the ball in the final third where he's free, and he has people making runs. He has Son running.
He got Son, Kulusevski,
all of them making runs for him, and he can slide them through. And then all he's got the space to go and attack and take shots. So yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to mention. Listen, I'm just going to mention a few because we're quickly running out of time, and I really want to get your input on these. I know, Rashid, you've been talking about Mohamed Kudus for a while. Big signing by West Ham. Maybe your thoughts on that, and the other one I wanted to talk about was Tonali to Newcastle. So Sadat, start with you. Tonali, Newcastle.
Not having a great start, have they?
They've had a shocking start, and he was talked about as being a really, really big signing for them.
He's looked good, but again, to a bit of confidence in the team, and then when they start winning, I think he will flourish.
Yeah. So just give him a little bit more time. I mean, they struggled to a win yesterday, didn't they? Yeah, and
the best of in the Champions League. Tonali is a gem of a player, and
I agree.
He's a really good player.
And then what about Mohamed Kudus, man? I mean, what we can expect from him? Because I know you've mentioned him a few times. You actually used to follow him, didn't you?
We'll probably see him in the Europa League, and again, pace, dribbling ability. He'll take people on. He can play as a false nine. Technically very good, and he's got that sort of physical attributes with pace, power, dribbling ability. He's going to be a very good player.
Yeah, and we didn't really talk about Doku, but I mean, I saw Doku not for the first time, but for the first time in the Premier League, obviously, in the highlights of match of the day yesterday, and the ball bounced off him and he gave the ball away, and it was an easy goal at the back post for James Ward-Prowse. Another good signing, James Ward-Prowse. Brilliant signing. He's had a fantastic start. But then, he was sensational with his own goal, and he was a constant threat. So it looks like we've got some really good, exciting players in the Premier League to look forward to. I'm just going to read out this comment from Jamil, just because I disagree with it. I like Jamil, and he's a fellow Liverpool fan, but he's saying if Man United want to break into the top four, and I'm just thinking... They were in the top. It's us that are trying to break into the top four. They were in the top four last season. But he goes, Erik ten Hag needs to go. United are one of the biggest clubs in England, true. And if they don't get rid of ETH now, then I don't see them doing anything for the next 3 to 5 years.
I don't think Ten Hag's a problem.
That's hyperbole, isn't it? That's a ridiculous hyperbole.
So Rashid, do you think the best bet right now for United is to stick with the manager and instill some discipline?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, Eric Ten Hag has till Christmas to turn it around, right? If he can't turn it around by Christmas, then he probably will get sacked. But I don't think he will, because I just think judge all the Premier League managers when they've got all their squads fully fit, or the majority of squads, and then you can actually then pass judgment.
It's been unlucky.
You still backing ETH?
He's been unlucky. You've got the whole sale of the club issue from the top is filtering all to the bottom. The players' personal issues, that not playing, injuries, everything. I think he's done well considering.
I agree with both of you. The one thing I will say though is after the Arsenal defeat and what he said about Sancho, it felt, for me as an outsider, it felt a bit weak.
I don't know. I think managers do that, but maybe we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, we will. Look, guys, thank you so much for joining me. To our listeners, thank you so much for listening and engaging with the show. And we'll be back again next week. Inshallah, speak to you soon. Salaam alaikum.
Salaam.